girls. And I grew up in this neighborhood, and I've been trying to think of some stories about growing up in an LDS community, and this is one about basketball teams. The Third Ward Hot Jocks. The year was 1968. It was the last game of the season, and as usual, we were competing with the other worst team in the state, trying our hardest not to be labeled as the worst, a title we had held for 3 years running. But we had a good feeling about this one. My best friend, Lynn Wilkerson, and I had invited a bunch of girls to watch us. I don't know why we did this, because it would have been a testimony-strengthening night for us if we even got put in the game. But nevertheless, we told them that the possibilities that we would be playing were good. Earlier that day, we had been hauling hay for the church farm so that we could get our service hours completed, just so we could have the honor of being bench warmers. We had to have 6 hours a year to be on the team, and we were 2 hours short as of this afternoon, so we had to complete them today. We finished an hour before the game, just enough time to grab a hot dog from the corner store and make it to the church gym. We thought we would shower when we got there. That way we could already have our Jade East cologne on, just in case the girls showed up to watch us. We were not prepared for what was happening in the locker room when we showed up. Greg Norsteller, the best center that had ever played for our team, had Claire Vernando, our best guard, in the showers, attempting to stuff deep heat up the crack of his butt, and other parts of his body where deep heat should never be worn. This was a trick that Greg had learned the first day of practice when he was trying out for the high school team. All of the seniors had trapped him in the shower and had inserted deep heat into all of his orifices, and he was eager to try it out on someone. And since Greg was a lot bigger than Claire, he had found the perfect match. Lynn and I decided rather quickly we'd wait until after the game to shower. We were watching in semi-shock, hoping Greg wasn't going to work his way through the rest of the bench, when I glanced over my left shoulder, just in time to see Ralph Sputson grabbing Greg's gorilla-sized jock strap and squeezing a nightcrawler length of deep heat into the pouch. Folded over, smashed deep heat all through it. Ralph was the replacement center, and like us, had not played in a game all year. About the time this was happening, Coach Gunderson popped his head in and yelled, 5 minutes till game time. Lynn and I hurried and put on our uniforms on, and were the first ones out on the floor, trying to get in a game of horse when the rest of the team showed up. Claire was missing in action. The whistle blew, and it was time to meet in center court for the prayer before the game. It was the only fight that ever began with a prayer. The tip-off came to our team, and naturally the ball went to Greg, who was off and running, hoping for an easy layup. 10 feet from the basket, the deep heat must have kicked in, because all of a sudden, Greg lost the ball, went down on his knees, grabbed himself, and started to writhe on the floor. The referee blew his whistle, and Greg was charged with a technical foul. Coach Gunderson went berserk, demanding to know what the T was for. The ref yelled, "Humping the hardwood." This made the coach even madder, and the whistle blew again. "What's that one for?" he yelled. The ref responded by saying, "For making me have to tell you what the first one was for, that's right." Greg had to be taken out of the game. All he could do was grab himself and say, "Ha ha ha." Coach put Ralph in for Greg until he could cool down. He just laid on the floor in front of the bench in the fetal position, tears rolling down his cheek. I almost started crying with him, and probably would have if I were not trying to stifle myself from laughing. Besides that, the girls were walking in. Greg saw them too. He sat upright and tried to act as if he were okay. Ralph scored from the top of the key, and Greg was up on his feet. He yelled, "Put me in, coach," and off he went. Greg was on fire. He had never played like this in any other ball game. He stole the ball, dribbled it between his legs, stopped, shot, sunk a three-pointer. He was a one-man team, and he was giving us all a lesson in being a ball hog. Greg scored 23 points that half, but not nearly as many as the other team. The halftime buzzer sounded. The score was 40-25 for the other team. No one had even thought about Claire during the first half. Was he still laying in the shower? Was he passed out? We would find out soon enough. The second half was as mundane as the whole season has been. We were losing bad. We asked Coach if he would put us in, so that we could make good on our promise to the girls. Coach said, "What the hell, you couldn't do much worse." We lost the game 95-45, but it was the highest score that our team had had in 2 years. Well deserving of a trophy in our minds. We went back to the locker room, whooping it up like we had won. The bishop followed us and offered his usual sayings from Super Bowl losers, trying to sound all Lombardish. He also told us that whatever Greg had done that night to improve his game as much as he had, he wanted the whole team to do the same thing next season. I caught a glimpse of Claire walking out the front door of the church. He was inactive for a few months after the shower scene, but what we found out later explained why. After he had quit burning in the shower, he went to Greg's locker. He found the deep heat and pulled out Greg's clean underwear that he had brought for after the game. They were the tidy whities. Claire emptied the tube in Greg's undies, front and back, and massaged it in real good. He knew how dangerous it would be, but he was so mad at Greg he couldn't stop himself. He had gotten back at Greg, but he knew he had best stay away till things cooled down.